Yeah, I don't have it. It's over there.
That's right.
I think you're gonna have to go back so you can see all of the good slides that Bianca had ready for you that you didn't get to use. All right, there we go. Okay, all right. Nobody saw that. Gabriel ignored me, right? He didn't even know. Okay. All right, we have one question. The question is, what role, if there is any, can the auditing team play in helping the customer support team navigate the challenges of the tsunami?
Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay, so the question was, hello. Yeah, it's better. So the question was how auditing can actually help us out in support. Well, it's actually a tricky question, but it's one of the easiest one that I've gotten so far. And honestly, with I mean, the majority of tickets that we have in tier two, and not the majority, I'm sorry, it's I believe the 30% of the tickets that we have, it involves auditing questions. In terms on what is why I've been marked with this gap, what does this endorsement means, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that we really want to implement in the support team is for auditing to help us out with like a knowledge center. And I believe you guys already shared with us a couple of like endorsement lists so we can guide ourselves and know what the endorsements are. But support doesn't really have like the knowledge that you guys have, you know, like how you guys audit something. Why do you see something that maybe support cannot see? So it would really like help out if we can have like some leverage in terms on how or like the visibility that you guys have when you're auditing, because support doesn't know, you know, support doesn't know pretty much the instructions or the rules that you have when you're auditing a specific account. We do know these special instructions for accounts that we follow in support, which are pretty much different, and we can see the auditing notes as well in ICS. But what else do you have? Do you have any other protocol that you follow? Do you have any other processes? I mean, we lose visibility on all of that that you do have. So how can you guys help us? And maybe this is not like individually, it's more like how the department can help us out. It's just like having maybe like workshops or internal training sessions for the support team, especially tier two, to know exactly and to see exactly what you see when you're auditing. So most of the questions that we receive, and maybe the ones that we looped in, where we looped in Gavi, we can resolve them by ourselves. And that way, we're not going to be expecting you guys or Gavi in this case to help us out with that response or with resolving that ticket, but we can do it. And the SLA can definitely be better in that case. So.
Awesome. We had another question, but that is specifically for you, Patty. Yeah, so I know you just got one, but you got another one again. What sort of questions are like more commonly asked by the support agents on the ChatGPT solution you presented? Like, you know, what types of questions they're asking most of the time?
Yeah, so one that it's very frequently asked is, well, let me give you a little bit of context. Sometimes we receive a COI, and this COI, it's sent by a broker. Or it could be a tenant, or it could be a vendor, but we don't know. We look it up, we try to look it up in ICS and see if that record's already there, and we cannot find it. We only have the account name. Sometimes we do have the account name. But the tricky part is when the certificate holder doesn't have like the address, and the description of operations doesn't have the location either. So where are you going to actually add that record? You don't know. So there are so different ways where an account is being set up. Some accounts have been configured by address, some others by states, some others by buildings names, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes the building names are not even like a part of the COI. So you need to look up like the property address instead. So the assistant AI has been trained for it to actually know every single location of every single account. We actually have another like a separate sheet where we add pretty much every single address by accounts. So it can be fed by that sheet. And when someone from support is asking for a location for a specific account, it populates automatically. So that I would say it's just like the first one. Another one is special instructions by account. For example, how can I proceed if routing is asking me for X or Y request? Can I send it? Can I not send it? Etc. So special instructions are pretty much the highest volumes that we get in terms of questions for the assistant AI.
Awesome. I have another one. I think this is a very interesting one. It was the first one was from Marcela, and the second one I don't know because it was anonymous. But this one is from Gabriel Montero. He's asking, is asking Bianca to chime in. But I really do think that this is a question that both Alex and Patty could also reflect on, which is, was there anything that we first thought we should keep as a company, and then we figure out we actually need to change this? Or the other way around, like we need to drop this behavior or operational, or value or whatever, and then we found out actually no, we cannot, let go of this. Like, and also, that, and if so, how can we learn from it in order to take better decisions, moving forward?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that comes to mind is just kind of some natural redundancies that have formed. So because a lot of us are working on kind of high ticket projects or improving processes, there's a lot of things that like we're finding in support and auditing. There's a lot of things that this has worked in auditing, so there's an opportunity to kind of translate this to support, or we've sort of productized this, and there's a path we haven't followed. And I think what we discovered, partly with Alex and I as well, is like a lot of what we were working on and kind of prioritizing, there was kind of redundancy and overlap there. So I think we needed to, sort of all take a moment and kind of think about all of our different responsibilities, think of all of our different priorities as a company. And I think now, we're taking that opportunity to sort of parse things out. What exactly is someone's, is in someone's interest, or sort of, zone of genius, as Omri, loves to say. But, finding the opportunity to not be, as siloed, I guess, with kind of some of these bigger picture items where we could, be working smarter, not harder. But I think the projects themselves and having, brilliant people, put their minds to a problem, that is still going to be the pathway forward. I just want to make sure that we're all, we're not all working on the same things, that we're, being lean, but using our resources in a smart and productive way.
Awesome. Do any of you guys want to chime in, Alex or Patty? All right. Yeah, you want to say something?
Means. Oh, it's just nobody could answer it better than she did. So.
Okay, that's fair. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, maybe just adding to what Bianca was saying. I think that Jones has made a very good job so far in terms on resolving things and also just like giving our clients what they needed. But definitely some of the decisions that they have made internally with management has been made because I believe that right now we're going to be focusing on something else. And just like the part of also, looking at productivity, but also the human side is something that right now I think is taken into account very seriously. And not to forget about also the professional side in terms on we really don't want to burn you out but we want to work with you and just like work together so you can have a professional career with us, which is extremely important.
Awesome. I have another one for you, Patty. Which skills do you think are important to have to? Which skills do you think are important to have so you can thrive on the support team?
Okay, so in support, I do want to mention that we do have support, but in support we also have other teams, right? We have Fernando, it's integrations, we have contact administration, we have DLL risk, we also have the operators. But I think that the most valuable skill is critical thinking. We really don't want bots in our team. We want people to give us ideas. We want people to be able to do the tasks that we are required to do on a daily basis, but with critical thinking. We want you guys to think about how resolving things. And as you were saying, as Jesse and Alex were saying in the morning, it's not a matter of just like saying yes to all of the processes that we have and protocols that we have. It's just a matter of you just like thinking through and also say, hey, I think that this process maybe can be improved a little bit, or it can be enhanced a little bit as well. Or I think that this maybe template can be also improved, because all of the ideas are pretty much just like inside a bucket, and that bucket is gonna be filled out with very successful ideas, which is gonna make our team thrive in the end of the day. So critical thinking is one. Resolution problems is another one. The third one, I would say work under pressure is the third one. And I'm not saying that your boss is gonna be constantly just like micromanaging you guys. It's the fact that the workload that we manage is super high, that it gets to a point where it can be a little bit overwhelming. So right now we have in our queue around 8,000 tickets. One agent can have around 300 tickets individually in their queues. So that means that that can carry a little bit of a stress on your shoulders. But something that I'm always or constantly sharing to the team is that you have a daily quota. We're not asking you for more. You just need to do the daily quota and do what we have to do with the queue. So working under pressure or it's something that, yeah, it is required in the team, so you can control yourself, don't overwhelm yourself, because we really don't want to burn you out. We really want to keep the environment as healthy as possible. So,
Awesome. I think in a lot of ways it's quite similar to auditing too. Like you have to, hit some targets, and it's straightforward, but it also is challenging and demanding. And the critical thinking thing, it's like what we need across the company. Amazing. Thanks, Patty. Alex, we have a question for you. We're constantly implementing AI to enhance our productivity. But how can we deal with the challenge of users that don't trust AI in auditing? For instance, sometimes we get COIs, uploads that were supposed to be COIs, but just, a note somebody wrote like, can this be reviewed by a human? So, yeah, they think that everything is done by AI. How do we bridge that gap?
Sorry. Well, look, not everybody embraces AI. In fact, we are dealing with an industry that is very retrograde. Real estate is slow to adopt technology. The insurance industry is also very medieval. Like the cord forms are not ideal. Like there's a much better way to do everything in the computer age, right? So look, Jones is fighting an uphill battle. And it's not just the AI, it's Jones itself as a software that's trying to improve a process. So even before we were implementing AI, we were like, from the very beginning, we were pretending to be AI. And a lot of, that's a normal startup thing. You fake it till you make it. That's how you get proof of concept before you make the big investment, right? So, the auditing product you guys know today, way back then, there was nothing. Like it was all like, manual. There was no pre-population from the OCR. Even before Gen AI, there was OCR, right? But when I joined, there was no OCR. Anyways, this is just to say, that even back then when we had no AI, people were like thinking that it was AI, and then they were kind of getting flustered about it, and we had to tell them, no, it's running through a person. And that's exactly what we would tell them now. We tell people, our customers, that this is a two-step process. First, you have an AI review it, and then you have a human review it. And our customers like to hear that because they don't trust, I mean, as the question states, there's distrust of AI. There's this trust because AI hallucinates, because it's not perfect yet. It's getting better year by year, day by day, but it's going to be a while before anybody fully trusts AI to do anything all on its own, right? And so really the selling point of Jones, because we have a competitor trust layer where it's all automatic, right? They can't do what we do because they don't have people there doing the audits. We have both. So we have the automatic immediate feedback through the compliance,
Snapshot?
Snapshot, thank you, yes. The compliance snapshot. And we also have a more thorough and comprehensive human review. So I think it's really about user education and explaining how things work here. I don't think it's a reaction to our internal shift towards AI, because that reaction was always there.
Can
Great
I say
point.
something?
Yeah.
Have you heard about Alice Inman? Do you know what Alice Inman? Okay, so at the beginning, actually, we all were Alice Inman. We were using the acronyms of AI, Alice Inman. So a lot of people tend to complain about, who is Alice Inman? Is that a bot? And it was the entire support team, and that's the reason why we changed the names to each individual, because customers didn't like to hear about Alice Inman anymore.
A lot of the people here were hired by Alice Heman, and then because we used Alice Heman as also for the HR process, and then when they joined, they were like, "Who's Alice?" Like I wanted to meet Alice, and we're like, there was an event, I think that maybe 2023 or 4, that I was like, you're looking at Alice, all of us, yeah. I mean, we have another question. That's for. Well, that's for myself. No, I have one for Bianca first, and then I'm going to address the next one that is for me. It says, we're seeing a trend of international talents entering other sectors where they were previously specific to specific countries, like, customer-facing roles, for instance. Dev and marketing are examples as well. Is there a vision, possibility... Is there a vision or possibility or idea regarding employing ARC talents within the sales or growth department as well?
Yeah, I would say there's not like an active roadmap right now. Let's say, well, one piece is, there's a lot of things I want to do on the HR side in general, and there's a lot of things that have been across a lot of the company, very reactive rather than proactive, just as a measure of the volume of work and kind of where the focus is needed to be. Right now, I'm working on kind of a 2026 and beyond roadmap in terms of HR and business and people strategy. So definitely, something to consider. I think it's a weight of risk reward. There's certain reasons why, let's say, sales, they travel a lot to our U.S. clients. Our clients are based in the U.S. The conferences for all of them are based in the U.S. But that's not to say there isn't a potential for opportunities to expand on in terms of the growth team. In other places as well. It's just not it's not an idea that's been brought across the table, but neither was marketing till a month or two ago. So I think a lot of the ideas that come out are just like that, posing the question, saying, is there a plan for this, and is this a possibility, and then saying, yeah, sure, let's take a look and see if it is, and go from there.
Can I comment something, Jesse?
You can.
So we actually had a very talented lady in El Salvador who went to the sales team, and she's still there.
That's right.
but we kind of conceptualize of her role a little bit differently than before. We used to call her a sales coordinator, and she was doing a lot of this back office work, like answering emails and stuff, and like sort of figuring out renewals and all this stuff that sales was really not able to, like, it's like a lot of work for them, and they would rather be making phone calls and visiting clients, right? And Adriana, very talented, was able to come in there and sort of, pick up on a bunch of things that kind of straddled both sales, accounting, and that was remarkable. And so I think that there's been an appreciation of Adriana's talent in the sales team. And so this is just to say that there is a precedent for doing this, right? And I had a conversation with Nick about this the other day, and Nick said, we would love to have people in other countries working on sales. We just don't know how to do it. We don't know how to hire and train a distributed team because they've never done it before. So, I think this is an interesting area for, you guys, Jesse and Patty, and team leaders to sort of partner with Nick because, he may not know how to do it on his own, but I think there's definitely more room for LATAM to be involved in sales. We can't fully offshore sales because there is an in-person dimension to it, but there is a lot of stuff that actually could be done. Sales could definitely have some presence here in Brazil and also in El Salvador.
Yeah, I wanted to get that question, and I didn't want to put any of you on the spot because I think it's kind of like a delicate question because the immediate answer is like not right now. But I wanted to address this because I feel like sometimes we have ideas that we can do a lot of stuff from Brazil and we can from El Salvador too, but there are some reasons, like specific reasons, that some things need to also be more hooked on the U.S. And I think sales is Bianca's answer was a great one for us to understand. What's the reasoning behind having the salespeople the majority of the salespeople in the U.S. But I agree with Alex. There's definitely room for expanding to Latam as well. And there is a question here that's for me that I think it really relates well with this question that we just addressed, which is what's the criteria to fit people on the ops teams in areas with available positions that we're not familiar with, such as marketing and accounting. For instance, Walter went to accounting recently, right? And now Juan went to marketing as well. And how can we know about the available roles? That's a great question because as you can see, some jobs are posted, right? We're like, hey, here's a job that you can try out for. And some jobs, it's an opportunity that we're seeing and then somebody gets promoted and we have never, you didn't even get to hear about that role. Why? How does that happen? So there are a few reasons. First of all, we have a very organized process for hiring you guys, right? You would remember, it's very extensive. It's not easy to get into Jones. And then when you're in that process, the interview process is a very telling one because we get to really hear about your background, your experience. Some roles are so specific that you have to have some type of contact with the role. Ramping you up, if you hadn't have contact at all, is really, really difficult. So for instance, when the marketing situation came available, we were like, who here in the interview process mentioned having worked with marketing? And we found 2 people. These 2 people were offered the opportunity of participating on the interview process, and the one that was selected was Juan. So the same happened when we were looking into accounting. Do you guys remember when I posted who here has financial background? Because we, found some people in the interview process, but we had a hunch maybe we have more, and then we figured out that we had around 5 to 6 people, and then all of these people were also interviewed and considered for. So, some roles are going to require a specific set that we only find in very few people, and some roles can be, something that any of you could actually try out for, like customer success. You remember when I posted a job for customer success? Customer support. What else, Gabs? Where's Gabs? Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you remember any? Extractions was also posted. So yeah, the data analyst one as well. We posted about having a webinar, and people that attended to the webinar and were interested got to be, considered for the job. Like Kai was hired like that. Omar, I know you didn't know. I know you didn't watch the webinar, but you were interested in the webinar and you reached out to us. He wasn't available at the day, but yeah, that's how we sourced him. We posted the announcement about who was interested in automation, and everybody that was interested reached out to us, and we made the webinar. And Omar was also there, and we also had Danielle there. So that's how you are connected to some roles. I cannot just post every single job like everybody can try out for if you haven't had any type of experience. So is that like enough? Like, do we have a follow-up question like about any of this, by the way? Anything that we've talked about? I'm gonna like just press pause for a second and give you time to maybe ask a follow-up before I move on to the next one. All right. Awesome. So now this one is for Alex. And I think maybe, if you guys have any other questions, you can share right now, because I think after that we might be, walking towards the end. And I can try to pick the most interesting one. Solely based on the cost per audit, not considering integrations and other stuff. And in broader terms, how far are we from being able to profit out of our operations? And where do we expect to improve our efficiency the most?
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but well, I mean, about how far we are. But I will give you a hint, and I will say it is definitely within a year. I don't want to put an exact month out there, though we have one in mind that we've been talking about and shooting for, and everything looks like it's aligned for us to get there in substantially less than a year. Not in 2025, but, not too far into 2026. So that's the good news. And what was the second part of the question?
Where do we expect to improve our efficiency the most?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we've been improving with auditing. Auditing, you mentioned like unit costs for auditing. That's an imperfect measure. It's one among many, many measures, right? There isn't a magnifying glass on just this one thing, right? The investors are going to be looking at operating income and COGS and spend, and you may not know what all those terms mean, but that's okay. But it's just the point being, there's a lot of different cards that they're going to read in order to kind of figure out where Jones is going. But the unit cost is one of them. And so, what we've done with the unit cost and auditing, it actually happened with support at the same time. Like, unit costs are way down from where they were. It wasn't through automation. It was just by holding the team still, which I think is a very uncomfortable position, and we don't want to keep the team hanging like that. So that's why we're really interested in gaining efficiencies in support. And so, it's support. It's also onboarding and extractions, right? Over time, we're going to get more productive in those areas. We're going to have new tools that are released. And what that means is we can stop hiring new people. And then, when we have a vacancy, we'd always prefer to take somebody who's already been extensively trained here and is, in the Jones ecosystem. And so over time, what that leads to is a picture where we become more efficient, right? Because our volume and revenue grew. It keeps growing. It doesn't stop, right? But if our spend is more flat, like it doesn't grow at the same pace as revenue or volume, that means we're becoming more efficient, right? So, it's auditing, it's support, it's onboarding, but also even in the customer-facing teams, like implementations and customer success, right? There aren't a lot of tools that are being developed for those teams, but it's definitely on the radar, like that they need tools to help them manage the number of accounts that they have, right? So, we're really looking at the entire Jones landscape, whether that's, R&D or, sales or whatever, and saying where are the easiest wins. And right now it's looking like There's some low-hanging fruit and support, especially with where Gen AI is right now, and also in OB.
All right, last question, and I think we have a couple that are really similar for you. Um, you're living, so looking at where Jones is right now, the fact that the company continues to grow and there is huge potential to improve even further, how do you feel?
Oof, that's a hard one, because I mean, it's really difficult because Jones is my baby. I've been here for 6 years, and I've been having lots of conversations with ChatGPT about how I feel, and honestly, the whole way I felt conflicted. I felt like I didn't even want to make this move. I didn't want to. I just knew that I had to because. The developments of my personal life and the opportunity that I got is something that I may never get again. And I didn't want to lose that. But what gives me reassurance is knowing that all the talent that we need to keep running and to run even better than we already are is already here. This is kind of part of the startup life. You build something up and then it continues without you. And you walk away, but it lives on, right? And that's kind of what I see here in this room. I'm going to not be part of Jones soon, but you all will be. And that's something that I take pride in.
Guys, I just want to, this concludes with a perfect question, in my opinion, this session, but also our, very busy and intense day. I want to say, thank you to all of you that came, especially you guys coming from, so far away. But I also, the entire Brazil team. Like, it's the first time that we have an event in São Paulo, and we had it here specifically for the purpose of having, the most people that we could, because Ilhéus is so much better. But I'm kidding. Ilhéus is great, but it's more, way more expensive for you to get there. It's cheaper to make the event there. I think it might be hard to believe, but it is much cheaper for us to pay for the event there, but it's much more expensive for you to get there. So, making a cheap event that only half of you would be able to attend is not something that we're very interested in. So, we might have other ones here. Maybe, if Rio wasn't so expensive and dangerous, not trying to, I'm sorry. The real people are like, Kai is threatening me right now, like, I have a gun. No, for real though. We would love to have it in Rio. It's just that it was like 60% more expensive. So, hopefully one day when we are like, when somebody purchased Jones and we have, unlimited amount of money. I'm joking. Anyways, I just want to say that I appreciate all of you coming because, Jones gives you an amazing weekend. I know it is an amazing weekend, but it also, costs you your energy, your, money. So I just appreciate all of you for making the effort for being here. And Gabs, we have a specific schedule for everything that we're doing here. We have a specific schedule for the happy hour. We have reservations for 7. So right now it's a great timing to end it because it's actually a little bit sooner than what we thought originally. But it's gonna give you time to take a shower and rest and get ready. Because it's so close, we're gonna go walking. Is that right? Yeah, if it's raining and you guys maybe the Uber is a better option. I don't know. We just didn't have plans to take an Uber because it's close. How long is the walk? Like 10 minutes? 5 minutes? I think it's a 5-minute walk. It's really close. So, if it's not raining, we should all be walking. And because it's close, I think maybe we should leave 10 to 7. Is that a good time? 10 to 7, we can 10 minutes? 10 minutes, okay. So in the lobby, 6:50 is when we're meeting, 6 p.m. If you want to take an Uber, fine. We don't, it's not a problem for us. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, but if you want to walk, I actually think I am gonna because I've walked. Gabrielle, Thiago, and we walked so much yesterday. Our legs are burning, I'm not kidding. Like standing up is difficult, and we took the subway, and we had to also stand in the subway. It was a crazy day yesterday, but that is it, you guys. Thank you so much. Let's go to our rooms, get ready, and I will see you 6:50. Yeah.